Stubborn as a mule is a familiar saying, but I'm guessing the fella that came up with that never fished for suspended bass. You know, of all the conditions a bass fisherman faces, like rising or falling water, cold fronts, water clarity changes, high or low barometric pressure, high winds, and fishing pressure, one that would have to rate at the top of those times are when bass are suspended. This is certainly one of the times when they seem to take their toys and go home. Can they be caught? You bet they can. And I've got the perfect paddle for their little fannies. Tell you what, how about going fishing with me today and let me show you exactly how this whole thing works, okay? One of the first things I do when I'm faced with this condition is to begin my search for suspended bass off key structural features, like for instance, this day here. I'd located a flat 5-foot point that extended way out into the lake some 40 to 50 yards. And with the aid of my graph, I'd located suspended bass around 7 to 8 feet over 13 to 14 feet of water over a hard bottom area. And most of the fish were positioned out from the right side of the point. Now, it's not uncommon for fish to scatter somewhat from their structural feature. And this is why a fan cast presentation works so well. Look at there. Got it. There you go. Yes, sir. I'd love to see him take that float down. Wee! Didn't pull. Baby. You took it down like a little old crappie, didn't you? All right, come here. Come here, pretty. Look at here, watch. That hook just about fell out. You liked that thing too, didn't you? Ah! Pretty, pretty, pretty. See ya. As you can see, all we have here is an adjustable slip knot, a bead, a highly visible cork, a split shot, a 5-inch money minnow, and a weighted gamakatsu hook. And believe it or not, all play an important role in the success of this rig. Okay, now let's first discuss the slip knot. All it is a thill bobber stop. It's tied very tight to the monofilament where it won't slide up and down the line without a lot of pressure. By that I mean your finger and thumb can slide it. Its purpose is to keep the lure at a constant depth. All right, now, when the cast is made, what happens, the cork or float, what it does, it slides down against the split shot and the bead follows the float or cork, and all the weight is close together, allowing for better control and accuracy. Just follows it, just like that. Once the rig hits the water, what happens? The slip bead and cork will slide all the way up, just like this, back up to the slip knot and stop right there. And the bait, it settles to the set depth. Now, let's talk about this little guy right here, the slip bead. What does it do? It prevents the slip cork from sliding through the slip knot. It stops it right there. Now, the better, that's real important. The smaller the slip knot, the better you're going to be able to cast, because many times your knot will be somewhere between the tip of your rod and your reel. And the smaller it is, the better you'll be able to cast the knot through the guides. Okay? Now, let's discuss the float, the bobber, the strike indicator, or whatever you want to call it. I like one that's large enough to cast a good distance when needed, and large enough to be able to see it, and one that floats high like this one here. It's called a Lindy Little Joe. It's a weighted float, and it's highly visible. It's got a good color to it that can be seen at a long distance and during low light periods or when there's a glare on the surface. All right, now let's talk about this little guy. Plays a big role. It's called a split shot. It has several major functions. First, it allows for a little more weight to help you get the distance in your cast when needed. It also provides more action to the bait and stabilizes your line to the float. It also helps to prevent the fish from swimming with the bait unnoticed. Without the split shot, the fish can swim horizontally with the lure several feet, possibly into cover, or swim up with it, preventing a good hook set. With the shot added, the majority of strikes will be noticed, and the small amount of additional weight the shot provides will force a soft biting bass to go down instead of up, pulling the float under, and that's what we like to see. With the rig and technique that we're using today, let me tell you, it's absolutely perfect for this situation. As we all know, one of the toughest fish to catch are those that suspend, but they can be caught provided you have the patience and you give them an offering that's hard for them to reject. Now, this particular rig that we're using today is a very productive technique for catching bass in depths of, say, 20 feet or less, especially when they're inactive. Like, let's say, after a weather change, like we're experiencing right now, or extremely cold water, and they have to be teased into striking. Tell you what, take a look at these illustrations. As the float is pulled slowly across the surface, the bait follows slowly below. Once the depth is established, it's important not to retrieve too fast. If you do, you'll pull the bait shallow and out of the strike zone. And besides, fish prefer more of a fluid movement rather than seeing the bait skip, jump, and hop when they're inactive. The best presentation is to reel slowly, stopping your retrieve every few feet. This allows the bait to swing back under your float. Remember, a hit can occur on the pull when you stop it and it begins to swing, or by letting it remain motionless, or by slightly jigging your rod tip, giving the bait just a slight amount of action and keeping it in the same place. As stated, a strike could occur at any one of these times, provided the rig is set at the ideal depth. That school of fish is moving. They're just scattered all right in there. Look at there. Take it, take it, take it. Look at him. Take it, man. There you go. Got him. There's going a gun going out that way. Boy, that's a good fish. It feels like it's got some weight on him. Oh, look here. My float just going. Come on back up, come on back up. Took it down. Oh yeah, that is a dandy. Come on back with my, ooh, baby. Come here. Let me just get my hands on you. Oh, go on, big fish. I got you. He just bit me good, and he threw my dog off. Woo! Look at that little chunk. That pretty? Oh, baby. Laying out there just suspended, minding your own business, and couldn't stand that bait coming by there, could you? Oh. Hello. Time to say bye. Without question, there are numerous methods and techniques used to catch these dandy fish. but of all the ways, none I know of will compete with this system here, especially when they're suspended in depths of 20 feet or less. It's the best tip I know to catch suspended bass, and my most effective presentation in catching them. Give it a try. You might just be pleasantly surprised. We'll be casting out plenty of good fish catching tips, so be sure to be watching. Thanks so much.